I am not proud of this story. But nevertheless, as a public school teacher, I tell it on the first day of class for every class, every year since it happened. I think it's important. That's the day a lot of teachers do the syllabus. I don't do that. I save that for day 2. This is very early in all of my lessons. And I don't tell it because I want my students to like me. I tell it because I want them to realize that in my classroom, I can be vulnerable, because I want them to feel like they can be vulnerable. That in my classroom, mistakes are expected, they are respected, they are inspected, sometimes they are dissected. We pull them apart because our mistakes are how we learn. So I want to let them know on the first day that I make mistakes, and I might make mistakes in their class, and if they do, I'm willing to admit that I made a mistake because I want them to be able to do the same thing. I also want them to know that in my classroom, we tackle difficult subjects head on. We don't shy away from them. We address them. So you should know that I work at a very diverse school. In 99% of my classes, I am the whitest thing in the room, by account of not only my skin, but my geekiness and my nerdiness and all the other things that go with it. This happened, the event in question happened in the best year ever, 2000. No, it's not a coronavirus story. It was before that. It was before I stopped coming to the live story slams and we all went to a virtual world. I was in a physical classroom, and thankfully, we were 3/4 of the way through the year and these students knew me, because it might have been very different if this had happened on a first day of school. So about 3/4 way through the year, I teach English. We had been reading Fahrenheit 451, and I had just assigned an essay to students who were used to writing mostly paragraphs. So it was a lot more expectation, a lot more work. And they're complaining, they're ribbing me about how hard the work is. This is too much, I can't do this, I'm tired, I just want to take a nap. Mr. McDunnell, you are just too much sometimes. And I turned to this young student who's sitting in a beanbag chair, young black student whose respect I've earned at this point in time. And I say to this student something that my father said to me 1,000,000 times growing up. I turn to this young black man and I say to him something that I had said to my own sons as they were growing up. He's complaining about the amount of work, and I turn and say, yeah, I know, I'm a real slave driver, right? And I know all the air sucked out of the room because I couldn't breathe. And nobody was breathing, nobody was talking. And that young man looked at me and said, say what? And I sat down and I apologized. And I explained to him that it's something that I said without thinking, because it's something my father said to me and that I said to my sons, and that it was horribly, horribly wrong. And we spent probably another 30 minutes discussing it. And they very quickly said, Mr. McDonough, we don't think you're a bad person. I said, I know. But in my mind, I'm running through and I'm imagining the headlines, York, PA man crushes the self-esteem of black students. It was my first year teaching. I didn't have tenure. But the biggest thing that I was concerned about was that student and the other students in my room. And were they going to see me through this racist lens for the rest of the year? They didn't. We moved on past it. But I open with that every year in every one of my classes so that they know that their teacher, too, can still be schooled.